We have Mr. Massimo Gentili, the Vice President of International at Class.
Thank you very much, Roxana. And well, first of all, I apologize for my voice, which just sounds a bit weak, but I have a bit of a sore throat. But I definitely didn't want to miss today's webinar and have this chance to present to so many people actually from Africa. Today, I'm going to just be focusing on something, which is the new research, as Roxana mentioned, that class has been commissioned into Training Magazine, and basically, this is going to show you something that it's very specific, and particularly for the corporate sector, the L&D sector, learning and development programs, where class can play an incredible role going forward. So class has been, traditionally identified as a platform used by universities, which is true. We have a lot of universities actually all over the world. In 75 countries, we have more than 10 million users, which is a pretty good number. But actually, what we have seen over the last couple of years is an increased adoption by companies and why this is happening. So it was good, to actually ask the Training Magazine to run a research because the finding could be pretty interesting in particular for customers that belong to the corporate sector. Now, what they did was this. Basically, they did a research with 545 L&D specialists, people working from HR, training departments, very high-level professionals across several organizations. It was done just a few months ago and published a couple of weeks ago in the results. And you can actually find out the white paper from our website, and you can download it to read it. But I just want to highlight here today some of the key findings. So basically, just key findings at a glance, as we say here. 98% of the institutions now, organizations offer VILT, so virtual instructor-led training. So it's not just something that it could be just an option or a backup solution because normally, training is done in presence in the traditional way, but actually it's something that is now here to stay. And after the pandemic, this has been actually growing, compared to the pre-pandemic times. 40% actually use VLT the use of VLT for 50+% of the programs. We see a 40% of that, in companies, which is a very high number and it's growing. And particularly if you consider that 86% plan to maintain or grow their virtual instructor-led training. So there is a lot of value in this, and there are key reasons why companies actually invest more and more into what seems to be a compromise, right? Because actually today, you still see many companies, you see traditional training delivery, so in presence with instructor, people even traveling from different locations, or you see online, you can see primarily videos. So some people just watching a video, or you have an instructor, that is coming up, but actually is using just basic video conferencing solutions. So today, the platform for running virtual training primarily are video conferencing platform. 44% are using Microsoft Teams and 31% are using Zoom, according to the research, and the people that have been surveyed with that. Types of other platforms, which we could say virtual learning, virtual classroom type of solutions, then we have only a 24%, which is actually, still quite low because people need to invest, but definitely have started investing into this. And when we asked them, actually, Training Magazine asked them, they surveyed, people, what kind of challenges do you see? Well, basically, they divided the challenges into three main categories, right? If we look at the entire virtual instructor led training experience, we have before the session, during the session, and after the sessions, type of challenges that they need to face. Before the session is the administrative burden of setting up and delivering the courses. During the session is primarily the engagement, that you really need to drive with your employees. We can call them students, learners, but actually those people are there to learn something, and then they need to achieve specific results. It's not just, about complying with the policy of getting a training. We have customers actually that are using class to have hands-on type of training, and they do that thing remotely, completely remotely, and it works. We have examples at Volvo, in the automotive industry in North America doing that. After the session, the challenge is it's about analytics. It's very important, to extract the analytics and see exactly the results. Now, if we go more into details with the first challenge before the session, basically, you see that majority of them see challenges with the resources allocation and scheduling. We're building the course in themselves. We're standardizing, across the entire organization with we have specific policy to set up and deliver those courses. So the preparation time actually is much longer than a that they would really want it to be, and it's taking really too much resources and too much time. So it's important that with a platform, these type of challenges are addressed. And if we look at class, okay, we see that class provides value during those three steps: before class, during the class, and after the class has started. So just focusing on the before class, streamlining the course setup with templates and persistence. I mean, it's something extremely important. So we have developed functionalities that can allow actually the instructors to prepare, use templates actually to prepare the courses. And you can even have session plans that you can share across different instructors, so you can standardize across the organization the way you want the courses to be delivered. Very important. I mean, we have been investing heavily into the LMS integration. We integrate with the major LMS systems. I mean, here, OneConnect is a major provider and reseller of Blackboard LMS systems. So we integrate with Blackboard. But we also integrate with Moodle, with Desire to Learn, we integrate with Docebo, we integrate with Cornerstone. Basically, we support the major platforms. And when we say integrate, means that you're going to have a single sign-on, with the LTI protocol, plus an in-depth integration that will allow actually the instructors to actually open content into a virtual classroom. Now, this is just to give you some information. Then, right after the session, you will see Carl, my colleague from OneConnect, that will deliver a short demonstrations. But obviously, we will be available for more in-depth sessions. So, again, before class is extremely important, but there are a lot of tasks that an instructor needs to perform, and those tasks definitely are very demanding in terms of timing and resources. The way class is structured and the way the integration works, can dramatically reduce the time and help streamlining completely the entire process. Looking at the second, let's say, type of challenge during the session, I mean, we see that driving engagement and tracking that engagement real time is extremely important. And one of the things that are normally done during the sessions in L&D is that if you have a group of people, you can actually even divide them, and they can work in groups. So you can create breakout rooms, right? And if you're using Zoom, for example, you create breakout rooms. But what we have done in class, we have these design breakout rooms that are much more advanced than the basic breakout rooms, because actually, the survey response says, the instructor they cannot see what's happening in the breakout room. So they cannot really control them. How can they monitor them? How can they make sure that they're very active? They can monitor the level of participation, for example. So class has, again, designed a series of functionalities that address those challenges. So you have a learner engagement type of scoring that you can check actually live down to a learner level. And in the enhanced breakout rooms, you can have even a dashboard. And again, Carl will show you, but this is something unique. I mean, you can have, if you have 300 learners because you want to deliver a training, and scale, and basically you want to divide them into groups because they need to work and do different things. I mean, class can allow you to do that, and and then you can use even a dashboard to actually control those breakout rooms, monitor them, live, and get in and get out, share material. And basically, it's something that even in present experience, you would never be able to replicate. Looking at basically the learning, I mean, I think that what is very important is that the bottom line, that we always keep in mind when designing the functionality is that they must drive engagement. So if a an instructor is gonna share, a screen, for example, just to share some content, that would immediately kill any collaborations actually with the learners. That's the worst way to do it from a pedagogical perspective. So the functionalities, the integration, the way you handle and share material in the classroom are all designed to be independent actually from the instructor's desktop, are independent from that. And actually the learners could even work live. And when we see class that is being used to deliver sessions, and then also to boost working groups actually, so they learn much better, and it's always more hands-on. And the more you put your hands on, you interact, with your peers, the better you learn. And last but not the least is actually after class. What happens after class is that once the class is over, the session is over. It's important to see exactly what happened over there. You need to extract analytics. You need to have to see the attendance, for example, but also the level of participation. So there are things that basically those video conferencing tools and even the LMS systems, cannot respond. So who showed up, yeah, right? What does the chat, record say? How long was the session? Who was talking the most, the least, or whatever? What kind of level of focus you had from the group and the individual learners. So these are things that they cannot answer, but the data is there actually somehow hidden. And the way classes designed, the interface is that uh, it could be easily extracted. So this is extracted and shown in a dashboard, type of interface directly to the instructor. So it's easy to access it. And there is no additional custom work to do. And also because of the integration, we see that our virtual classroom solution talks with the LMS system, so they can exchange data and information. So you can have the level of granular visibility on the activities that are performed into the session. So just to wrap it up, class is a virtual classroom solution for learning and development. I mean, don't think a class only as a platform designed for university, because that's where we started off, okay? And we're having a great level of success. We have amazing testimonials out there. I invite everybody to check in our website. But actually, you can see that we have started publishing testimonials also from corporate customers. And this is really key because you see that specialists for L&D programs can find all the functionalities that they want. So they can find the solutions to the main pain points that they normally have to face with. So this will be shared actually after the webinar is over. But if you take the QR code, you will be taken directly through the report, and you can download it and see it.